Dead by Daylight has changed so much over the last 7 years, and you might be thinking, am I really using the right build? Are any of my perks actually good? Well, fear not, my friend. Today I've compiled the top 10 perks in 2024. So let's jump in with the number 10 spot. This goes to Hope, such an underrated perk. When the last gem pops, you get a 7% speed boost for the rest of the game, basically making you able to almost start looping the killers, especially range killers like Huntress and Trickster, as they're only 3% faster when you have Hope. And because it's such a slept on perk, few killers will actually expect it, making it even more viable, especially in situations where you would have just died trying to get to a pallet or a window, but now you can just about make it, given that final push to escape in the endgame. You can also pair it with other endgame perks like Wake Up and Soul Survivor to make you more of a menace in the endgame. Used to help your team or escape as a solo, Hope is an all-rounder. The 9th spot goes to Dead Hard, a classic second chance perk. It gives you endurance for half a second when you use your activation button, allowing you to get hit and then be inflicted with a deep wound instead of being down, so you can laugh at the killer as you leave them in the dust. You might think it's been absolutely destroyed after the recent nerf, which it has been a bit, but it's still useful. And even though it's only a 2-use perk, it will work most of, if not all of the time, and will work the same on all ranges of killers. And also, because it is only a 2-use perk, it's also possible to put other exhaustion perks with it, such as Live, Balance Landing, Smash Hit, and more. The 8th spot is going to Will Make It, such an underrated perk. It gives you double healing speed for 60 seconds after you unhook any survivor. This means that you can get it multiple times per game, and it will save so much time in so many situations. When you need to heal after an unhook, you can get it done before the killer comes back, which can stop tunneling in most scenarios. When you come across injured survivors out in the open, you can quickly heal them and get on a gen. In endgame situations, you can heal everyone to stop deaths at the gate before the time runs out. And needless to say, for hit and run killers like Wraith and Twins, it's absolutely vital and can ruin their game by destroying all their pressure. Finally, it can even stop slugging situations, with the effect acting for down survivors as well. The effects of Will Make It are honestly endless. Totally deserves a spot in the top 10. In the number 7 spot, it's going to Prove Thyself. This increases your gen repair speed by 10% for every survivor working on the same gen. This also counts for other survivors. So with a gen with all 4 people, the gen speed will be increased by up to 30%, which is huge if you're trying to gen rush or just trying to get out of a 3-gen situation. Not naming any names about who would do that. And in general, it gives you a great boost when you're cooperating with other survivors, and also complements with extra blood points, helping with the BP grind outside the game. Plus, you don't need anything with it. It basically just sits there in your kit without you needing to activate anything, just giving passive buffs throughout the match. The 6th spot is going to Off the Record. This gives you up to 80 seconds of so many good status effects after you get unhooked. For one, it makes your aura unseeable if the killer tries to read it, as they can use perks like Nowhere to Hide or Barbecue and Chili. They now can't see you, which overall just stops you being mind game while you're looping. 2. All grunts of pain while injured are completely suppressed, making hiding from or looping the killers much easier, as they don't know where you are, especially against audio based killers like Spirit, which need your sound to know where you are, basically making a free and much better Iron Will. And 3. It gives you endurance for 80 seconds, essentially a 3-second chance, as it only puts you into the deep wound state if you get hit. In general, this is a must have if you're prone to getting tunneled or just need a little helping hand in chase. The only noticeable downside is the effect cancels if you touch an objective, but if you're in chase anyway, that won't even matter. Just a solid all-rounder. The 5th spot is going to Live, one of the best exhaustion perks. It gives you a 3-second speed boost when you fast vault any window, which can be used in almost every chase to gain a bit of distance from the killer, to get to the next pallet, or just to escape them overall. Especially if you're going against a slow killer like Trapper or Nurse, this can be such a helpful perk to just increase chase time for a little up to a lot of time depending on the situation. But all in all, a great perk, as all you really need is windows, which are scattered everywhere. The 4th spot is going to Unbreakable, a great perk for getting out of bad circumstances, as it allows you to fully recover from the down state by yourself and increase speed of 135%. Although this might seem like a situational perk, in those slugging situations or endgame scenarios where the killer leaves you on the floor, it's a game changer, allowing you sometimes to pull back from a 4-man slug situation and completely change the game. To make it even better, it can be paired with perks like Deliverance and Decisive Strike. So if the killer picks you up, you could DS them, but if you miss it, then when they hook you, you can use Deliverance. But if the killer chooses to not pick you up at all, you can just Unbreakable off the floor. The 3rd spot goes to Sprint Burst, another great exhaustion perk. This gives you a 3-second speed boost when you start running, which can be used used to juke killers, giving you some free distance, or just to get to another objective faster when you're not in chase. An all-round great perk, and especially as Dead Hard has now been nerfed, it's a great idea to get used to using this perk, as it's one of the best tools in the Survivor perk kit, as this 3 seconds can get you away from the killer in so many different scenarios. You could be able to get the hatch before the killer, you could be able to take a protection hit in time. There's so many applications to this perk, which you all can go and test out for yourselves. Now moving on to number 2. This is going to Windows of Opportunity. In contention for first place, Windows of Opportunity allows you to see all windows and pallets, regardless of whether they're dropped or not, in a 32-meter range. And you might be thinking, well, I can just remember the map to know where all the pallets and windows are. Well, yes, this is true, but if you're closer to the end of the game, teammates may have already used these pallets, and you might accidentally end up in a dead zone. But with Windows of Opportunity, it always makes you aware of what's left on the map, so you don't accidentally run into a dead zone. And you can use all this information to create a pathing route so you know exactly where you're going to get as far away from the killer as possible. Before the top spot, I'm going to throw out a few honourable mentions. The first being Deliverance, an amazing perk for solo queue. It makes you able to unhook yourself from first hook after getting a safe hook rescue beforehand on someone else. This is great as it makes sure you're not left to die on first hook by teammates who care more about gens. Yeah, that doesn't happen at all, that doesn't. And also that it destroys all of the killer's pressure, because now no one has to come and unhook you, they can all stay on gens while you unhook yourself. And the second honourable mention goes to Resilience, a universal perk which while injured gives you a 9% speed boost on basically everything, doing gens, cleansing totems, healing, and even vaulting. A great perk for saving just a bit of time, which can sometimes be absolutely necessary. And last of all, the number 1 spot goes to Adrenaline. In my opinion, the best exhaustion perk. Adrenaline gives you a 5-second speed boost and heals you one entire health state when the last gen is powered. It can even wake you up from the dream world when you're versing a Freddy Krueger. This perk is an absolute game changer in the endgame. You could be about to die and Adrenaline pops, healing you back to healthy, and gives you a speed boost to help escape the killer. Or if you're being slugged, it will take you out the dying state, leaving the killer with basically no pressure, allowing you to run out to the exit gate. Overall, just a last fuck you to the killer before you leave. And with that, that concludes the list. Make sure to comment down below your list of the best perks.